The courtroom was never meant to tell this much of the story. But now, newly surfaced footage of Maurice Scott has gone viral, and according to many viewers, it changes everything. Every movement, every pause, even the moments where he says nothing at all are now being analyzed in slow motion. People are asking the same question again and again. Is this the body language of a man confident in his innocence, or someone realizing that control of the narrative is slipping away? Stay with me, because once you see what unfolded inside that courtroom, the speculation surrounding this case suddenly starts to make a lot more sense. When footage from inside a courtroom begins circulating online, it's rarely just about what's visible on the screen. It's about interpretation. It's about what people believe they're seeing and what they think it reveals beneath the surface. In the case of Maurice Scott, this newly surfaced courtroom video has ignited intense debate across social media. Viewers are dissecting every glance, every shift in posture, every exchange, frame by frame. What was once a legal matter confined to court filings and quiet proceedings has now become a viral moment. And with that shift comes serious questions about what may really be happening behind the scenes. In today's video, we're breaking down exactly what this footage shows, why it's gaining so much traction, and how it connects to the ongoing legal and public controversies surrounding Maurice Scott. We'll separate verified facts from speculation, explain the legal context of why he was in court, and examine why so many people believe this footage represents a turning point. By the end, you'll have a clearer understanding of why this moment matters, and why many believe this is only the beginning of a much bigger story. This footage didn't just appear out of nowhere. According to multiple online sources, the video began circulating after what was initially a routine court appearance involving Maurice Scott. At the time, the hearing itself drew little public attention. It was the kind of legal proceeding that usually stays confined to court records and the observations of those physically present in the room. But once short clips started appearing online, everything changed. What made this footage stand out wasn't any dramatic outburst or headline-grabbing statement. There was no shouting, no visible confrontation, no explosive moment. Instead, it was the subtlety that captured people's attention. Viewers began noticing Maurice Scott's demeanor as he entered the courtroom, how he interacted with his legal team, and how he reacted to what was happening around him. Within hours, clips were being reposted, slowed down, zoomed in on, and analyzed across platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Commentary channels and bloggers jumped in, each offering their own interpretation of what his behavior might suggest. The viral spread was fueled by context. Maurice Scott has already been under public scrutiny due to past controversies and ongoing legal discussions tied to his name. So when fresh footage emerged, people weren't watching it in isolation. They were watching it through the lens of everything they thought they already knew. That combination turned a few minutes of courtroom footage into a trending topic almost overnight. Another factor that accelerated the virality was the lack of immediate official commentary. With no public statement addressing the footage right away, speculation rushed in to fill the silence. Viewers began asking pointed questions. Why did he appear tense at certain moments? Why did his expression seem to change when specific topics were mentioned? And perhaps most importantly, why did this footage feel different from previous court appearances? Legal analysts were quick to remind viewers that courtroom behavior alone doesn't determine guilt or innocence. Still, that didn't stop the internet from drawing conclusions. In the age of viral content, perception often moves faster than facts. Once the footage reached a critical mass of views, the conversation became less about what actually happened in court and more about what people believed they were witnessing. What's crucial to understand is that this moment marked a shift. The narrative surrounding Maurice Scott was no longer driven solely by documents or secondhand reports. Now, people felt like they were seeing something for themselves. And when audiences believe they're witnessing unfiltered reality, reactions become stronger, louder, and much harder to control. To understand why this particular court appearance struck such a nerve, it's important to understand the legal context behind it. This wasn't a random or ceremonial visit. According to publicly available court information and reporting from those following the case closely, Maurice Scott was present as part of an ongoing legal process, not a sudden one-day issue. Court insiders and legal commentators have emphasized that this appearance was one step in a broader legal timeline. It involved procedural steps, filings, and scheduled hearings, rather than a final verdict or dramatic showdown. That distinction matters because many viral reactions online assumed this was a decisive moment, when in reality it was one chapter in a much longer legal journey. Timing also played a major role. This appearance happened at a moment when public attention around Maurice Scott was already heightened. Prior allegations, disputes, and ongoing public conversations meant that any legal development was bound to be magnified. When cameras captured him in court during this phase, viewers immediately began connecting his demeanor to potential outcomes, even though no official ruling had been made. Legal experts have also pointed out that court appearances often involve long periods of waiting, quiet discussions with attorneys, and moments of tension that have nothing to do with guilt or innocence. Still, that didn't stop the internet from drawing conclusions. In the age of viral content, perception often moves faster than facts. Once the footage reached a critical mass of views, the conversation became less about what actually happened in court and more about what people believed they were witnessing. What's crucial to understand is that this moment marked a shift. The narrative surrounding Maurice Scott was no longer driven solely by documents or secondhand reports. Now, people felt like they were seeing something for themselves. And when audiences believe they're witnessing unfiltered reality, reactions become stronger, louder, and much harder to control. To understand why this particular court appearance struck such a nerve, it's important to understand the legal context behind it. This wasn't a random or ceremonial visit. According to publicly available court information and reporting from those following the case closely, Maurice Scott was present as part of an ongoing legal process, not a sudden one-day issue. Court insiders and legal commentators have emphasized that this appearance was one step in a broader legal timeline. It involved procedural steps, filings, and scheduled hearings, rather than a final verdict or dramatic showdown. That distinction matters because many viral reactions online assumed this was a decisive moment, when in reality it was one chapter in a much longer legal journey. Timing also played a major role. This appearance happened at a moment when public attention around Maurice Scott was already heightened. Prior allegations, disputes, and ongoing public conversations meant that any legal development was bound to be magnified. When cameras captured him in court during this phase, viewers immediately began connecting his demeanor to potential outcomes, even though no official ruling had been made. Legal experts have also pointed out that court appearances often involve long periods of waiting, quiet discussions with attorneys, and moments of tension that have nothing to do with guilt or innocence. Still, that didn't stop the internet from drawing conclusions. In the age of viral content, perception often moves faster than facts. Once the footage reached a critical mass of views, the conversation became less about what actually happened in court and more about what people believed they were witnessing. What's crucial to understand is that this moment marked a shift. The narrative surrounding Maurice Scott was no longer driven solely by documents or secondhand reports. Now, people felt like they were seeing something for themselves. And when audiences believe they're witnessing unfiltered reality, reactions become stronger, louder, and much harder to control. To understand why this particular court appearance struck such a nerve, it's important to understand the legal context behind it. This wasn't a random or ceremonial visit. According to publicly available court information and reporting from those following the case closely, Maurice Scott was present as part of an ongoing legal process, not a sudden one-day issue. Court insiders and legal commentators have emphasized that this appearance was one step in a broader legal timeline. It involved procedural steps, filings, and scheduled hearings, rather than a final verdict or dramatic showdown. That distinction matters because many viral reactions online assumed this was a decisive moment, when in reality it was one chapter in a much longer legal journey. Timing also played a major role. This appearance happened at a moment when public attention around Maurice Scott was already heightened. Prior allegations, disputes, and ongoing public conversations meant that any legal development was bound to be magnified. When cameras captured him in court during this phase, viewers immediately began connecting his demeanor to potential outcomes, even though no official ruling had been made. Legal experts have also pointed out that court appearances often involve long periods of waiting, quiet discussions with attorneys, and moments of tension that have nothing to do with guilt or innocence. Still, that didn't stop the internet from drawing conclusions. In the age of viral content, perception often moves faster than facts. Once the footage reached a critical mass of views, the conversation became less about what actually happened in court and more about what people believed they were witnessing. What's crucial to understand is that this moment marked a shift. The narrative surrounding Maurice Scott was no longer driven solely by documents or secondhand reports. Now, people felt like they were seeing something for themselves. And when audiences believe they're witnessing unfiltered reality, reactions become stronger, louder, and much harder to control. To understand why this particular court appearance struck such a nerve, it's important to understand the legal context behind it. This wasn't a random or ceremonial visit. According to publicly available court information and reporting from those following the case closely,